Everyone seems to think they just don't have enough discipline to reach their goals. So they build a morning routine like they're told to. They wake up earlier, they stack more habits, they optimize the sequence. But what if the reason your morning keeps falling apart isn't because you lack willpower? What if it's because you're trying to build structure on top of an already overactivated and chaotic mental state? What if the real problem isn't your routine, but the state you're starting from? And what happens if you keep stacking productivity on top of a dysregulated nervous system? Do you get consistent, or are you left with nothing but burnout? In this video, we're going to unpack why most morning routines fail, what's actually happening underneath, and what needs to happen before you add another habit. Because if you don't reset your system first, no routine will stick. Hey everyone, Dr. Greg here, and today we're going to be talking a bit more about what you need to add to your routine from the perspective of a therapist. Most people think mornings are about discipline, but they're actually about state. If you wake up already activated, your brain isn't prioritizing clarity, it's prioritizing urgency. That's why you reach for your phone before doing anything like journaling. That's why your routine feels heavy instead of grounding. You're not lazy, you're just overloaded before the day even starts. And when you stack habits on top of activation, you create friction instead of momentum. Because here's the thing, a routine can't stabilize you if your nervous system's already running hot. Now here's the mistake most people make. They assume the solution is just adding more structure. So they add cold plunges, longer workouts, stricter schedules, or at least they try to. But if your baseline activation is already high, intensity doesn't regulate it. It just makes your mind more chaotic. The more you override your internal signals in the name of productivity, the more your system associates mornings with pressure and overwhelm. And over time, that's how a good routine turns into avoidance. And then you call yourself inconsistent when what's really happening is completely understandable dysregulation. So here's where this actually changes. If you've been thinking, okay, then what do I do instead? This is it. Before you add a single habit, you need to reset your state. Not with intensity, not with more discipline, but with intentional downshift. The first 10 minutes of your morning shouldn't be about performance. They should be about regulation. This means your job isn't to be productive yet. It's to get your nervous system out of urgency mode. You can do this by asking one simple question before you touch your phone or your to-do list. On a scale from 1 to 10, how activated am I right now? If you're already at a 6 or a 7, adding cold exposure or jumping straight into email is going to amplify that, not stabilize it. Instead, you should take a minute and slow yourself down on purpose. You unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, and let your system settle before you ask it to perform. You give yourself a few minutes without input. No news, no notifications, no scrolling, so your baseline isn't hijacked before it's even established. You're not trying to create the perfect morning, you're widening your window of tolerance before the day makes withdrawals. Because once your system's steady, discipline becomes easier. And when your state is regulated, habits don't feel like force. They feel like momentum. That's the difference between a routine that lasts 2 weeks and one that actually sticks. Once you ask yourself that question, where am I right now? Let's say you find that you're in the 5, 6, 7 range. You don't really want to be there because that's not a great number to be at to get your day started. One technique you can do to help you out is 5 for 5. All you got to do is this. For 5 minutes, I just need 5 minutes. And in fact, it's not me, it's you. Give yourself the gift of 5 minutes, where the first minute you focus on your sense of sight. I want you to look around you and identify everything that you can see within that minute. Then for the second minute, I want you to focus on your sense of hearing. What can you hear around you? Identify everything. In that third minute, you're going to focus on your sense of smell. Now, you might think, how can I identify things that I'm smelling for a whole minute? This is where we're practicing our mindfulness skills, which helps us ground to the moment, which is going to bring those emotions down. And then you're going to start to feel better, get a better jump on your day. Fourth minute, it's going to be sense of taste. By that 5th minute, last sense, of course, is your sense of touch. What can you tangibly feel around you? It might be the shirt on your skin. It might be the bed that you're sitting on. Whatever the case may be, Stick with it for that final minute. Why does this work? Because when you ground yourself to the moment, you're not stuck in your head. You're not thinking about all those notifications. You're not thinking about all the meetings, that argument that you had with your partner the other day. You're focused right now. When you root yourself to the moment for 5 minutes, you will start to feel better because you're not overloading your system with your to-do list. Start your day off with being rooted to the moment rather than throwing yourself into the endless notifications, emails, scrolling that is going to shoot you up to a higher number and start you off in a dysregulated place. So listen, if your mornings keep collapsing, it's not because you need more structure, it's because you're trying to build structure on top of activation. Reset first, then build. If you want help learning how to regulate your state instead of fighting it, that's the work we do in therapy, not building better routines, building better capacity. If you want an additional skill on this, you can check out my autopilot interrupt protocol at my practice website, first link in the description.